You certainly made a splash.
I'm just getting started, darling.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times Disney really improved their source material.
Aren't you a damsel in distress?
I'm a damsel. I'm in distress. I can handle this. Have a nice day.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable feature-length films that do more than their sources of inspiration, whether that be through the narrative, characters, or music. Would you rather see Disney adapt more previously existing stories into film or write original ones? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. The Princess and the Frog, The Frog Prince. This classically animated story is a fun twist on its original source materials with significant changes in settings, character, and objectives.
This old town can slow you down, people taking the easy way. But I know exactly where I'm going, I'm getting closer and closer every day.
While based on the German fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm, the film is also inspired by a 2002 E.D. Baker novel. Unlike either version, Disney's protagonist Tiana is not a princess, but rather a hardworking and aspirational young woman. Similarly to Baker's story, she befalls the same fate as her royal frog acquaintance upon kissing him.
Easy, princess, do not panic.
What did you do to me? I'm green and I'm slimy.
No. That is not slime.
What?
You are secreting mucus.
The amphibian couple then embark on an adventure that differs vastly from the original tale or novel. The jazz-inspired soundtrack reflects the distinctly American setting of New Orleans, something which further differentiates this film from others in the Disney Princess franchise. Number 9. Cruella, The 101 Dalmatians. When seeking inspiration for a feature film, Disney turned to Dodie Smith's children's novel multiple times over the years. Their 1961 animated adaptation is a relatively faithful, if simplified, version of the original story. In 1996, we got Disney's first live-action interpretation of the story.
Raj, that's truly an inspiration. It'll be a sensation.
Among the three aforementioned versions, Cruella is universally set upon killing dogs for their coats.
I live for furs. I worship furs. After all, is there a woman in all this wretched world who doesn't?
It's not until the 1996 film that she becomes more than just obsessed with fur, but also the owner of a house of fashion. The 2021 film elaborates on her love of fashion, developing her as a creative but misunderstood aspiring designer. A dog owner herself, this edition of the character is by far more complex and sympathetic than we've seen her before.
You're really trying to be the Estella that you wanted. Mostly. It's working.
Number 8. The Fox and the Hound, The Fox and the Hound. While retaining many of the same elements as the 1967 American novel by Daniel P. Mannix, Disney's animated retelling is by far more optimistic than its source material.
My, look at that. A fox and a hound playing together.
The original story follows Copper and his master's pursuit of Todd over many years in the name of avenging Chief's death. While the two animals enjoy outsmarting one another and grow to appreciate the hunt, they lack the loyal relationship that's found in the movie.
Copper, you're my very best friend. And you're mine too, Todd. And we'll always be friends forever, won't we? Yeah, forever.
Todd and Copper's friendship, in spite of their oppositional roles as fox and hound, is Disney's central theme. Not to mention the fact that Chief, Copper, Todd, and his vixen mate all die in the book. We'll take unlikely animal friends over that any day.
I'm on the trail of something. Trail of what? I don't know yet. Why, it's you.
Number 7. Hercules, Heracles. Disney's film, inspired by the heroic demigod, has little similarity with the traditional story told in Greek mythology.
Have you ever saved a town before?
No, not exactly, but
Have you ever reversed a natural disaster?
Well, no.
The hero's conception by Zeus's affair with a human is rewritten to be a more kid-friendly abduction of Hercules as an infant. It's during this event he drinks the potion that turns him half mortal. Not even his name is technically correct, since Hercules is the name of Heracles' Roman mythological counterpart.
What was that name again?
Hercules. He comes on with his big innocent farm boy routine, but I could see through that in a Peloponnesian minute.
Inconsistencies aside, Disney's story is a fun interpretation, with elements of comedy, romance, and self-improvement. Not to mention, the soundtrack is top tier. If nothing else, the muses qualify this film as an improvement.
Yes, indeed!
Number 6. Tangled, Rapunzel. Beginning with the exposition, this Disney adaptation deviates significantly from the fairy tale recorded by the Brothers Grimm.
Well, don't worry, this is actually a very fun story, and the truth is, it isn't even mine. This is the story of a girl named Rapunzel.
In the original, Rapunzel's peasant father steals from the neighboring sorceress's garden in order to appease her mother's pregnancy cravings. Their child is then claimed by the sorceress as retribution. However, the film presents Rapunzel's parents as royalty seeking a magical flower for its medicinal properties. Their child is then locked up by Mother Gothel while she's still a baby.
Why can't I go outside?
The outside world is a dangerous place, filled with horrible, selfish people. You must stay here, where you're safe. Do you understand, Flower?
The changes only continue from there. Rapunzel's love interest is a thief, not a prince. The action takes place mostly outside the tower instead of inside, and Rapunzel's haircut ultimately liberates her. Overall, Disney's movie has more likable characters and a story suited for contemporary times.
But I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking and asking and asking, I finally said yes.
Number 5. Cinderella. Cinderella or the Little Glass Slipper. A fairy tale with thousands of variations, it's not surprising that Disney tried their hand at adapting this story more than once. While the animated film is admittedly iconic, we want to give props to the live-action version.
They're all looking at you.
Believe me, they are all looking at you.
Both Disney's 1950 and 2015 retellings are based on the French story by Charles Perrault. The animated film incorporates many elements introduced by Perrault, such as the fairy godmother, the pumpkin, and slippers that are made of glass. As an adaptation of the animation, the live-action version includes many of the same elements but isn't afraid to make changes.
Just because it's what's done doesn't mean it's what should be done.
Right again.
The film explores its own plot, art style, and fairy godmother. In a mass of repetitive live-action adaptations of Disney classics, Cinderella distinguishes itself as different.
Are you ready?
For anything, so long as it's with you.
Number 4. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. In addition to being an ode to Gothic architecture, Victor Hugo's novel tells a heart-wrenching tale. Disney's adaptation, while dark compared to their other animated features, is a gentler retelling of Hugo's original story.
You mistreat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people. You speak of justice, yet you are cruel to those most in need of your help.
Silence!
Justice!
Both versions explore themes of prejudice, exploitation, and sin, but the movie retains a more positive outlook than its source material. In both versions, Quasimodo, Phoebus, and Frollo share a common infatuation with Esmeralda. The original version doesn't exactly present their feelings as wholesome, however.
This burning desire is turning me to sin.
Frollo is definitely a huge creep in the movie, but the book really amps things up. In the end, nobody is able to save Esmeralda. Thankfully, Disney manages to tell a tale that honors the source material while being much less depressing.
What makes a monster and what makes a man?
Number 3. Frozen, the Snow Queen. Disney's take on this tale by Hans Christian Andersen was a long time coming. With different pitches over the years and stalls once production began, Frozen hit many bumps in the road. But it all worked out in the end. Deciding the main characters should be sisters set the tone for the film, while setting it apart from its source material.
To the magic! To the magic!
Eventually, Anna and Elsa's personalities took shape. Of course, the latter character, whose counterpart in the Anderson version is the Snow Queen, winds up being anything but evil. The end result is a love story unlike the original fairy tale or any other Disney princess film. Each woman has a satisfying character arc, and their sisterly bond serves as the heart of the movie.
You sacrificed yourself for me? I love you.
Of true love will thaw a frozen heart.
Number 2. The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. Another Disney-fied version of a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, this film also deviates from its source material in the interest of telling a happier story. While retaining many key elements, the animated version excludes the variety of physically painful experiences the protagonist suffers for the sake of human legs.
I'm not asking much, just a token, really, a trifle. You'll never even miss it.
The ending also differs in that instead of dissolving into foam, Ariel gets to marry her prince. While Disney's modifications undoubtedly lighten the plot, their creative additions also solidify the film as greater than the original.
Look at you! Look at you! There's something different.
No animated Disney movie is complete without music or animal sidekicks, and The Little Mermaid offers the best of both. The villain Ursula is also one of Disney's campiest, inspired by the drag queen Divine. This movie does so much right.
Yes! Thank you. Thank you.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Snow White. The princess wakes with a kiss instead of an accidental Heimlich. Lady and the Tramp, Happy Dan, the Cynical Dog. From Cosmopolitan magazine to the big screen, these are our favorite pasta-eating dogs.
Side by side with your loved one, you'll find an enchantment here.
Robin Hood, Robin Hood. There's nothing like an anthropomorphized fox robbing the rich and giving to the poor.
Rob? That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Tarzan, Tarzan of the Apes. Proof that every story benefits from Phil Collins' music. Oliver and Company, Oliver Twist. Starring a stray cat instead of an impoverished orphan, the movie makes Dickens' story easier to swallow.
All you gotta do is learn some moves.
Moves?
You know, tempo, a rhythm. This city's got a beat. You gotta hook into it. And once you get the beat, you can do anything.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Sleeping Beauty, Sleeping Beauty. Like some of the other stories on this list, multiple versions of this fairy tale exist with variations among them. Luckily, Disney's animated adaptation belongs among the better of these variants.
This is the 14th century.
Nowadays, I'm still the king, and I command you to come to your senses.
And marry the girl I love.
Exactly.
An early version of the tale by Giambattista Basile describes an interaction between the unconscious princess and a king during which he gathers the first fruits of love. Ew. His violation results in the princess waking up to realize she was born twins.
Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
Forget fairy tales, that version belongs in the horror genre. Disney takes direction not from Basile, but rather Charles Perrault, whose story requires no physical contact for the spell to be broken.
But don't you remember? We've met before.
We have?
Well, of course. You said so yourself. Once upon a dream.
The animated film hinges on true love's kiss, but forgoes any activity that would lead to children.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.